Welcome to Streaming News Network by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. Tensions are rising again in the Middle East following new accusations involving the critical shipping route known as the Strait of Hormuz. President Donald Trump claims that Iranian forces fired on vessels in the region, describing the action as a violation of an existing ceasefire agreement. According to the president, shots were directed toward a French ship and a commercial vessel from the United Kingdom. The president also confirmed that U.S. representatives are heading to Islamabad for renewed diplomatic talks aimed at easing the situation. Meanwhile, Trump stated that restrictions in the waterway are already impacting global shipping, suggesting Iran could face significant economic losses if disruptions continue. He added that the United States is pursuing a negotiated resolution but warned that failure to reach an agreement could result in further escalation. Iranian officials have not publicly responded to the latest claims. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most vital corridors for energy transportation, making any instability there a major international concern. This is Streaming News Network. Shares of Netflix dropped sharply in after-hours trading following its latest earnings report, despite strong financial performance in the first quarter. The company reported revenue of $12.25 billion and net income of $5.28 billion, exceeding analyst expectations. Earnings per share rose to $1.23, nearly doubling from a year ago. However, investor sentiment turned negative after Netflix issued a weaker-than-expected outlook for the second quarter, projecting revenue of approximately $12.57 billion, slightly below market forecasts. Adding to the uncertainty, co-founder Reed Hastings announced he is stepping down, marking a significant leadership transition for the company. Co-chief executive officer Ted Sarandos said the decision was unrelated to any recent business deals, while leadership emphasized continued growth strategies, including expanding advertising revenue and recent pricing adjustments. The combined impact of softer guidance and executive changes contributed to a drop of nearly 9% in the company's stock after the announcement. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. An unusual incident delayed a college football event in Virginia this weekend. At Virginia Tech Hokies spring game, a skydiver participating in pre-game festivities collided with the stadium scoreboard at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. University officials say a team of 3 parachutists had been scheduled to land on the field, but one was blown off course and became entangled near the scoreboard. Emergency crews responded quickly, bringing the individual safely to the ground within minutes. The skydiver was evaluated on-site and later released, with no serious injuries reported. The incident delayed kickoff of the spring game by roughly 1 hour. University officials praised first responders for their swift and coordinated actions, emphasizing that safety remained the top priority. Despite the disruption, the event continued, marking the first spring appearance for new head coach James Franklin, who recently joined the program. This is Streaming News Network. A wave of online speculation is putting a popular grocery chain in the spotlight. Trader Joe's is the subject of viral claims suggesting some of its products are fake or unusually resistant to spoiling. The discussion has gained traction on social media, where users point to packaged meals with longer-than-expected shelf lives. However, food experts say there is a straightforward explanation. Many of these products are preserved using a technique known as modified atmosphere packaging. This process replaces or removes oxygen inside sealed packaging, often using vacuum sealing or controlled gas mixtures, to slow the growth of bacteria and extend freshness. Experts say the method can keep food stable for weeks without significantly affecting taste or nutritional value. Specialists emphasize that the longer shelf life is due to modern packaging technology, not the use of artificial or misleading ingredients. As the debate continues online, industry professionals say the science behind food preservation is well established and widely used across the grocery sector. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A decades-old mystery from Florida is once again capturing public attention. Betts' mystery sphere refers to a strange metal object discovered by the Betts family in 1974 near Fort George Island. The sphere, roughly 8 inches in diameter, drew attention after the family reported unusual behavior, including rolling on its own, producing sounds, and reacting to light. At the time, speculation ranged from experimental technology to extraterrestrial origins. The object was eventually examined by scientists and the United States military. Tests, including X-rays and structural analysis, found no evidence of explosives or immediate danger. Experts, including astronomer J. Allen Hynek, concluded the sphere was likely man-made, though its exact origin remained unclear. While theories about the object continue to circulate, no definitive evidence has ever confirmed extraordinary claims about its behavior. The Betz mystery sphere remains one of the more unusual and enduring curiosities in modern folklore. This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. Vladimir Putin is raising concerns about Russia's economic outlook, signaling growing pressure on government officials to respond. During a televised meeting, Putin said the country's gross domestic product declined by a combined 1.8% in January and February, with key sectors, including manufacturing, construction, and industrial production, showing negative trends. He called on senior officials, including Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin and Central Bank Governor Elvira Nabiullina, to explain why economic indicators are falling short of both expert projections and government forecasts. The slowdown follows several years of volatility tied to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, which has contributed to inflation pressures, labor shortages, and shifting export conditions. While Russia previously saw growth fueled in part by increased military spending, more recent data suggests weakening momentum, alongside a widening budget deficit and reduced energy revenues. Despite the slowdown, officials note that unemployment remains near historic lows, reflecting a tight labor market and workforce shortages. Russian authorities now face mounting challenges as they attempt to stabilize growth while navigating continued geopolitical and economic pressures. This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. The federal government has begun the process of issuing tariff refunds following a major court ruling. U.S. Customs and Border Protection launched the first phase of its refund system, allowing importers to apply for repayments tied to tariffs that were struck down by the Supreme Court of the United States. Officials estimate that as much as $166 billion could ultimately be returned, with roughly $127 billion expected to be distributed in the initial phase to businesses enrolled in electronic payment systems. Importers who receive approval may still wait between 60 and 90 days before funds are issued. The refunds stem from a ruling that found many tariffs imposed during the Trump administration unconstitutional, though the court did not outline how repayments should be handled. Business groups say the rollout marks a significant moment for companies that have been waiting for clarity, while experts caution that consumers are unlikely to see direct refunds, as tariff costs were often absorbed across supply chains. A new processing system, known as CAPE, is expected to expand in future phases to cover additional claims. This is J. Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A powerful winter system is sweeping across Alaska while sending a blast of Arctic air toward much of the United States. National Weather Service has issued widespread winter storm warnings across parts of Alaska, where some areas could see as much as 58 inches of snow, nearly 5 feet, by Monday. Forecasters say conditions will include strong winds up to 45 miles per hour and dangerously low visibility due to blowing snow, making travel extremely hazardous. Communities along the Yukon Delta coast and parts of the eastern Alaska Range are among the hardest hit, with officials warning residents to prepare for difficult or potentially dangerous conditions. At the same time, the system is pushing a surge of frigid Arctic air southward into the lower 48 states. Meteorologists say the result could be a sharp and sudden temperature drop from the plains to the northeast. Experts note the cold air mass follows one of Alaska's coldest winters in decades, with unusual weather patterns helping to store and then release the Arctic chill. Authorities are urging residents in affected regions to monitor forecasts and prepare for rapidly changing conditions. Actor and comedian Billy Crystal is facing criticism over a new Broadway production centered on the loss of his longtime home during the 2025 Los Angeles wildfires. The show, titled 860, references the address where Crystal lived for more than 4 decades. He has described the production as a personal story blending humor and reflection on family memories tied to the home. However, some critics question the timing and tone of the project, arguing it may appear insensitive given the widespread devastation that affected thousands of families. In response, Crystal says the performance aims to share both emotional and uplifting moments from his life and experiences, while also acknowledging the broader impact of the disaster on his community. The production remains scheduled to open on Broadway this fall, as debate continues over how personal stories are presented in the wake of large-scale tragedies. This was J. Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and shorts. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.